happy to be here. How about you guys?
Yes.
I think we do have a good club climate here, but how can we make it better? This was an important topic when I was looking through Toastmasters Successful Club series. So I landed upon this one. And I got to thinking a lot about why I keep coming to Confidence Builders. As Monica said, I've been coming since 2014, and that's quite a while. I initially came because I wanted to be a better public speaker. I was attending a conference where I had a 20-minute speaking slot, and I wanted to prepare for that. But really what's kept me coming is the camaraderie, the goal setting, just the overall club climate. But when I started, the club membership was over 20, and it's started to dwindle over the years. So I thought tonight might be a good time to talk about that, what we could do to improve our club climate so that we can retain and increase membership. Now, Toastmasters provides a PowerPoint for this particular talk, but it really went over a lot of things that I think we already do well in our club. For example, we usually, except tonight, we usually always start on time, a little wrench thrown in tonight. We are always well organized and have agendas and have pre-assigned roles. So I really wanted to hone in more on the two main elements that Toastmasters has identified as important for a positive club climate. And the first one of those is an effective learning environment, and the second one is member interaction. So I had Donna, as a Sergeant of Arms, pass out some handouts, and I want to look at the one first entitled 7 Elements for an Effective Learning Environment. And Donna's taking notes. This is going to be an open discussion where we're all going to contribute. Donna's going to write down any good ideas she hears about how to improve our learning environment. And I wanted to approach our learning environment from what cognitive researchers have found to be the ideal environment for learning. So the first thing that we all need to be effective learners is have awareness. And what does that mean? That means awareness of what we're good at and what we're bad at. Awareness of our strengths and weaknesses. And I think people who come to Toastmasters are pretty self-aware. They've identified they want to improve their public speaking and they need more skills to do so. But as a club environment, how do you think that we support our club members' awareness of their strengths and weaknesses to help them improve? Anybody have any thoughts on that? I see you shaking your head.
Come back to me. I'm marinating on it.
Okay. Anyone else?
Through positive evaluations.
Through evaluations, yeah. Our evaluations generally focus a lot on the positive, but give a couple of takeaways for improvement and growth. So people aren't discouraged and they know what they're good at and they know what they think they might need to work on. Heike?
Participation, especially for new members or members that are having a hard time with getting out in front. The more they see people step out and progress, even if it's not as fluid starting out, but the repetition that people see in other people gives them the confidence to step forward and do that.
Yeah. And for me personally, coming to Toastmasters, coming to Confidence Builders was a lesson in self-awareness for me because I thought I was a terrible public speaker, but I found that there were some things that I was good at, and my fellow club members helped me discover those, that I was good at going out the gate even. So that gave me confidence to keep going. What about this? This is something that I thought beforehand, and I haven't been a mentor to someone for quite a while, and this is a recommendation that I have weakness in myself, self-awareness again, that I can improve on, but we have had the online platform for a while now, and I have never logged into it. I'm still working on my physical manuals and waiting to finish those before starting the online program. And so that is a barrier to me in being a mentor and being able to help new club members. And it's something that I want to make a goal for myself to get familiar with it, because I want us to be able to attract new club members, but I can't really talk with experience about the online platform. Now, what about, as a club, self-awareness for us as a club, not just the individual strengths and weaknesses as public speakers or leaders? What about as a club in general? What do you see some of our strengths and maybe some of our weaknesses that we could work on? Any input there?
I think we should greet each other more when we first come into the meeting room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We don't have a habit of shaking each other's hands. Maybe that would be nice.
Mm-hmm. Doug kind of started that, and then it fell off, and I enjoyed that kind of connection, shaking hands. It's very warm and inviting.
Maybe that's a role that we can add. I mean, I know as we continue to build membership, that may be something that we may want to add, sort of like a club greeter.
Mm-hmm.
Because again,
Play to your strengths.
one of the biggest fears that people have is public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
So to see a friendly face at the door would probably help. I don't know how much, but I feel like it would help.
Yeah, and someone who likes to do that, they're going to do it well, and we can play to that club member strengths. I'd nominate Doug. I always like it when he's the greeter. What if?
Well, I think we need to do a better job of reiterating, because we have a greeter, we need to reiterate what that job
What that job
entails,
is.
maybe especially for the newer people. Because those experienced people may not have demonstrated it well enough or explained it.
Do you think it would make an impact on visitors to the club if in our greeting we include some kind of history about Confidence Builders, how long it's been operating, and something like that? We had a little spiel that people could fall back on too. So Donna's taking all our ideas down. The next element for effective learning that cognitive researchers have identified is modeling. So if you know, on the job, if you've ever had to learn a new job and you're afforded the opportunity to job shadow, how effective is that to see someone doing competently what you eventually want to move toward doing competently? So in terms of us having an effective learning environment here, do you feel like we offer the opportunity for newer members to model good practices? Any comment? I mean, I feel like we do. We have at least one speech every meeting, so that people who haven't given a speech yet get to observe and see the lay of the land. We have table topics. Newer members get to see more experienced members answer questions and get to try it out themselves. Evaluations. I do think for the purpose of more modeling opportunities, it would be nice if we had more speeches. So that, you know, maybe if we have somebody who hasn't done their icebreaker yet, an experienced person could step in and do an extra icebreaker to just show them how it's done. That maybe be helpful. Have you seen one yet? I didn't get a chance to
I've only
see
seen
one.
one, yeah, I think that's.
Would that have been helpful?
Yeah, I think the week before me, Monica gave her icebreaker, and that definitely helped me a lot in preparing for it.
Any other opportunities you see on modeling for improving our club climate?
Maybe just going to other
visiting another club and seeing
Mhm.
what they do that you think works.
Yeah, so that's
Coming
more at
back with
the larger
fresh-
club level.
Yeah,
Yeah,
coming back with fresh ideas.
that's an excellent idea. So maybe we could assign somebody to do that who's not here. Get voluntold. All right. Then, providing learning strategies is another element for an effective learning environment. Do you feel like we provide our club members with learning strategies? Toastmasters is a very well-organized program, and when there are speech assignments, there's parameters that we can follow, but other than that, how can we improve the experience by providing a variety of learning strategies? Do you have something, Hakeem?
Yes, well, I guess it'd be more of a ricochet question. The question would be, do we have members that are advanced in pathways, that has gone through a significant length that can provide insight and leadership in that regard? To your point, I opened up Pathways for the first time yesterday.
High five.
And serving in leadership in this club over the past few years, and being a member of this club for the last few years, I don't feel confident that if a new member walked in, that I can mentor them in the new system, which can become problematic, especially for someone that is really stepping out of their comfort zone to take on this task of becoming a better, effective speaker and leader. The ability of the club to be equipped to help mentor, I think, is an area of opportunity.
Yes, I agree. And I think if we look at our mentorship material, we might have a little quiz on the individual's assessment of their own strengths and weaknesses, a self-awareness quiz. Maybe some learning strategies for them. So I think we definitely have an area for improvement in mentorship, and that's another thing I see as an area in improvement for us. There's a few key players who tend to take on the majority of the roles, and I think to improve our club climate, it would be nice to take some pressure, say, off of Monica, who's very familiar with Pathfinders, to have all of us get more confident so that we can also step up and be better leaders in the club. Maybe we don't only need mentors for our new members, but maybe we also need mentors to bring more experienced members up in their leadership roles.
I know the district has a Pathways leader, and she's done training online before, and I thought that was helpful when I took her class last fall. And I know she did more training this year, but I haven't looked up the classes. And it's just an hour
Mhm.
on Zoom.
Okay. Would you provide us information on how to access that? That's
Yeah,
online?
sure, I'll ask her.
Okay. And the fourth element for an effective learning environment is an environment in which you get constructive and actionable feedback. Do you think the club provides that to its members? Yeah, I agree that we get very constructive feedback, and we have some outstanding evaluators in the club who model how to do an evaluation. But I question, is our feedback actionable enough? And is there anything that we can do to hear it, but then to reinforce it through action? Now, I've liked, and in Pathways, it seems like there's an assignment to give a speech and then to redo it, taking the feedback you got. I really like that. I think Patty did that, and she really improved the speech the second time. And maybe that's a way to get us all speaking more. So we don't have to start over with a brand new speech, but if we can rework a speech we've already given, that would definitely put more speaking slots on the agenda and make the feedback more actionable. And the fifth element for effective learning environment is a creative outlet. Does Toastmasters provide that? And how do you think we can accentuate that?
I think people in their speeches can be very creative or not so creative. That's
Mhm.
just
Personal
to people's
style.
personal styles and personal interests. I think we have some creative ways of doing table topics sometimes, and we shake it up by having open house and refreshments and contests.
Yeah.
So it's not the exact same, it's never the same meeting twice, but even the format changes a little bit.
And it's not only through speeches that we can be creative and capture the interest of our guests, but Rita, sometimes when you've been Toastmaster, you've come up with themes and had us all dress up. And I think when we had guests on those nights, it really made an impression of like, whoa, this place is fun. So talking about people playing to their strengths, maybe you could be like our theme coordinator and ensure that at least once a month we have a theme meeting and we really have fun and present the fun people that we really are should we have guests. The sixth element is to have a purpose for learning. I mean, are you just learning German and you're never going to speak to any Germans? You're never going to go to Germany? Does Toastmasters provide a purpose? So what's the purpose for anyone individually who wants to share that?
It's to be a better person.
To be a better person?
Yes, it's not only for your professional life, but it's actually for your personal life to give people respect and courtesy and give positive feedback. And if you have something to say it in a constructive way.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I think Toastmasters in general could do a better job with testimonials, with progression in Toastmasters and implementing that into a club format. I know me personally, before I started Toastmasters, so I struggled with organization. And there have been occasions in Toastmasters where I've held 2 to 3 roles, whether club or division level, which forced me to become more organized and better use of my time. And Donica attested this is pretty chaotic when I was area director. But I will say this, I felt that year that I spent under that particular role, and served as VP of my club, it prepared me for some of the things that people now managing 18 people in my department at Pepsi. Some of the things that I learned, juggling multiple things at one time and being able to compartmentalize and prioritize things that are all high priority, it definitely helped. And I think that too can help inspire new members. That too can help encourage new members that as they get more involved, because you have some that will just come and do table topics. You will have some that will just come and do speeches, but none that will get in leadership role, or vice versa. And I think that's important, is that we take some time and talk about and have a healthy discussion about how Toastmasters is impacting our lives, whether it be professionally or personally.
So, apropos of this whole discussion, if we do decide to have one assigned greeter, or if we decide to really reinforce what a greeting is going to be like, maybe we want to stipulate that at least the greeter and others share their experiences with visitors on how Toastmasters has impacted them. I am always disappointed when we get a new member and they stay for a little while, but then they leave and they don't move through the awards program. When I started Toastmasters, I thought, I'm not really interested in all of that. But I, like you, Hakeem, struggle with organization, so structure really helps me. I really found that it keeps me focused to work through the different goals. So I know we don't have time here and I'm gonna go overtime, if that's okay. But
I'm watching, in about another minute.
But,
That'll make
you
it
know,
5
maybe
minutes
for
of
another
time.
not time, we could have a further discussion, how we could sort of convert people to being more interested in working through the awards program and getting into that and getting excited about that. That is another purpose for learning to work your way through this program.
I think it might help to have like a chart to see where people are.
Yeah.
People could see, because if it's not, you know, goal, like with goals, what Dave used to always say, that if you don't have it written down, then
Right, right. And then finally, an effective learning environment leaves room for mistakes. Do you think that we do a good job with that? We have our little dinger, and I know that kind of turned Joanne for a loop, right? She didn't like it. But I think we kind of make it humorous, the way we call attention to the words. Do you think there's any opportunity for improvement in providing room for mistakes for people?
I know as long as I've been here, I've made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
So there's a room for
There's a-
mistakes.
yeah.
I've never felt like people have, I feel like there is room for mistakes and people are open to, because they give you such good feedback too. That it's okay to make a mistake.
Yeah, I feel like I can come here and crash and burn and leave and be okay. So I hope everybody else feels that way too. Now, talking about constructive and actionable feedback, Donna is furiously taking notes, and she has a lot of notes, and I'm going to take them back and type them up for everybody, all of our ideas that we put out there in talking about our learning environment. The other component that Toastmasters identifies as being important for having a good club climate is the interactions among the members. So we talked about, gave us 5 things to think about, and we talked about wanting to improve our greeting for great first impressions, and we already have some ideas surrounding that. The second thing, the art of conversation. Maybe we can all make a little bit effort to get to know each other better. Maybe come a little bit earlier to the meeting if we can, or stay a little bit later and help Patty pack up, and try to get the sense that we're all responsible for this club, not just the people who've taken heavy officer roles again and again, but you know, maybe in the pursuit of mentorship, we could pair up somebody who's not currently officer and somebody who's an officer and start training them early, and that would definitely spur deeper conversations and help us get to know each other better. So volunteer and learn leadership skills along the way. Just talked about that. Support each other. And then finally, party, celebrate, and reward. So if we can focus on improving, we're already a good club, but improving in these 2 areas, our member interactions and our learning environment, we're not going to just have a good club climate, we're going to have a great club climate, and this will truly be the best place to be on Tuesday nights. With that, Donna's passed out a model club checklist, so if you could just take the time at the end of the meeting to fill it out in regard to where you think we're doing well in these areas and where you think that we can improve, and turn them back to me, I would greatly appreciate it, and the next time we have a club officer meeting, we'll review that information. Okay, thank you.